Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're unpacking a topic that is just as fascinating as it is deeply unsettling. We're looking at a system of rules that literally dictates every single waking moment of a population's existence. That's right. We're going to explore the strictly enforced and, quite frankly, draconian laws of North Korea, drawing directly from some truly eye-opening source material. So if you're ready for a highly structured, focused look at exactly how this state operates, you are in the perfect place for this explainer.
Okay, let's dive into this. When we think of strict laws, we might think of heavy fines, or maybe some really annoying zoning rules in our own cities. But the question we really need to ask ourselves today is, what is it actually like to live under a regime where the state dictates almost every conceivable aspect of your daily life? We aren't just talking about tax codes here. We're talking about extreme, sweeping state control over culture, over movement, and even the most private, intimate aspects of human existence.
So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll be moving from cultural restrictions down to the most intimate aspects of personal life, covering state control under Kim, banning all foreign music, the motor vehicle ban, the illusion of voting, personal life and contraband, and finally, understanding the reality of living under these rules.
Section 1. State control under Kim.
As the source material makes incredibly clear, the entire foundation of North Korea's legal system is absolute, unwavering state control. Kim Jong-un commands authority over literally all aspects of citizen life. And this isn't just your standard political leadership, it's a total suffocating dominance over both the public and the private spheres. This absolute authority is the engine that makes every other unusual law we're about to explore even possible. By centralizing all power and severely limiting outside information, the regime forces total reliance on the state for truth, direction, and honestly just basic survival. Without this foundational grip on daily life, the surreal laws we're going to unpack simply couldn't be enforced.
Section 2. Banning all foreign music. So, how exactly does all this state control affect culture?
Well, the source highlights a really fascinating, strictly enforced prohibition, a total ban on foreign music. Access to literally any music from outside North Korea's borders is strictly prohibited by the state. And you might wonder, why? Well, because music inherently carries ideas, right? It carries emotions, and it carries unfiltered cultural perspectives from the outside world. By banning foreign music, the state holds on to a highly effective tool for isolating the population. It ensures that the only cultural messaging the citizens ever receive, the only rhythms and lyrics that soundtrack their entire lives, is the messaging meticulously approved and manufactured by the regime itself.
Section 3. The motor vehicle ban. If cultural mobility is restricted, what about physical mobility?
And this brilliantly illustrates the stark contrast drawn directly from our sources. On one side, ordinary citizens are completely legally barred from owning a motor vehicle. You can't just save up your money, head down to a dealership and buy a car. There's just no way. But on the other side, state officials and elites are granted explicit permission to own and operate them. It's a deeply unequal system that physically anchors the general population right in place. By making independent travel virtually impossible for the average person, the state effectively prevents large-scale coordination and keeps tight geographic control over its people.
Section 4. The illusion of voting. Now, this naturally leads us to wonder about political agency. What does political participation even look like in a society where you cannot even own a car?
Let me walk you clearly through the steps of a North Korean election exactly as outlined in the source, because it really highlights an incredible illusion of choice. Step 1, citizens are absolutely mandated to vote. Participation is essentially compulsory just to show your loyalty. Step 2, the voters arrive and receive their official ballot paper. But Step 3 is where the reality truly sets in. The ballot paper they are handed contains only one single name. No opposing candidates, no write-ins, and absolutely no debates.
So, the crucial point is this incredible detail from the source. The ballot paper has only one name on it, Kim Jong-un. This perfectly encapsulates the entire environment. The citizens go through all the physical motions of a democratic process, lining up, receiving a ballot, casting a vote in a box. But the outcome is 100% predetermined by the state. It's a mandatory exercise in demonstrating compliance, rather than an exercise in making a genuine political choice.
Section 5. Personal life and contraband. We've looked at culture, movement, and politics. Now let's see how state restrictions drill all the way down to incredibly private, personal matters.
Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer unpredictability of what the state actually cares about. The source lists some highly specific, unexpected items. We already discussed the strict ban on foreign music, but the source also notes that condoms are heavily restricted and treated essentially as contraband. No way, right? Yet, right next to that, we have the confusing, largely unregulated status of marijuana, referred to in the source as ganja. It's this extreme micromanagement of personal health and family planning sitting right alongside incredibly surprising legal loopholes.
To expand on that contradiction, it's a staggering paradox of authoritarian rule. While basic, universally recognized health and family planning items like condoms face harsh state bans, marijuana occupies a surprisingly unregulated gray area. Compared to strict global laws regarding narcotics in so many other countries, the source points out this fascinating anomaly in North Korea. The state fiercely controls the most basic, intimate human interactions, while seemingly turning a blind eye to a substance that is heavily regulated almost everywhere else on Earth.
Section 6. Understanding the reality.
We've looked at a lot of disjointed, highly unusual laws today, from music to cars to ballots and contraband. But everything we've explored, the prohibition of outside culture, the physical restriction of movement, the orchestrated illusion of a single-name ballot, and the paradoxes in personal contraband, they all serve one singular purpose: maintaining absolute state isolation and dependency. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder. When the state dictates what you can listen to, where you can drive, who you can vote for, and what basic items you can possess in the privacy of your own home, what is the true cost of absolute state control on the human experience? It is a stark contrast to the everyday freedoms so many of us take for granted, and it's a reality that's absolutely vital to understand. Thank you so much for joining me to break this down today, and keep learning.